welcome to my channel. This is the ninth episode of the Meet the Pro series, a series where I will be interviewing people in the field of biology and genetics to help high school students interested in biology. In today's episode, I will be interviewing Mrs. Priya Subramony. She is a senior patent agent at the biotech company Thermo Fisher Scientific, and I am delighted to have her with me here today. Thank you for being here, Mrs. Priya.
Thanks, Rishi. Thanks for having me.
So, could you first tell us a little bit about your background, like how you first became interested in genetics and what you currently do at Thermo Fisher?
Sure. Yeah. So I was always interested in biology from the beginning. And initially, I was thinking I might go to med school. But then somewhere down during my high school years, I got more interested into research, actually more medical oriented research. Yeah. And then for my undergraduate, I did a bachelor's in biochemistry. This was in India at the University of Delhi. And then after that, I went to Madurai, another town in India, South India, where I did my master's in biotechnology.
Okay.
And that was where I got kind of an exposure to like different parts of like biology, like or the biotechnology world. So it was not just genetics, but it was just kind of like growing cells and
Got it.
a little bit of molecular biology, biochemistry, all plant genetics, like everything was sort of included in the course, immunology, whatnot. So that was great. And then after that, I thought I was interested most in neuroscience out of all of those.
Mhm.
So I came to the United States. I came to Florida State University in Tallahassee
Mhm.
to do my PhD. And my PhD was sort of like a mix of electrophysiology and molecular biology. So back then, I was studying these nerve cells in embryonic chicken ganglia, actually. And we were looking at ion channels. So at one level, I was recording electric currents from ion channels and studying how they formed in the chicken embryos.
Yeah.
And then at other level, we were doing some mutations to the genes that had those ion channels or expressed those ion channels. And then we looked at like some of the effects of those mutant proteins, if you will. So
Yeah.
that was sort of like my educational background as such. So
So, what led to like this intersection between genetics and law? What led to that interest form?
yeah, so that was actually so then after I finished my PhD, I came to the University of Texas at Austin to do a postdoc.
Okay.
And I was continuing to do a postdoc in the laboratory of one of the professors here back in the day. And he used to also work on ion channels, but in Drosophila. And since the genetics of Drosophila was more well known, there were a lot more established like mutants and
Yeah.
uh, yeah, phenotypes and genotype, all of that. So I continued to do that work, but then at some point, well, first of all, his grants ran out. That was the first thing that happened. And so for a while, I worked for him kind of without any money, but then it became not really feasible to do that. So I started exploring what else is out here that I might do. And unfortunately, back in the day, there were not too many biotech companies in Austin. And for various other reasons, I had to kind of still stay in town. I couldn't just get up and move to other cities at that point. So somebody told me that there's like this career of like a patent. You could actually work on biotech related patents, and that's a field that needs pretty advanced scientific degrees to be able to work in.
Yeah.
And so one thing led to another. And then actually there was a professor at UT Austin who also had a PhD in molecular biology, but he was a professor and he was also a partner at a law firm. So I went and talked to him and he told me, if you want, you can just come because people with advanced science degrees, you don't actually need a law degree to practice patent law.
Oh,
But
okay.
we have an opening and we need somebody with biology degree. And so if you want to come and try it out, you're welcome to come. So that's kind of how I just started working initially as a scientific advisor to the law firm.
Mhm.
And this was to a law firm back in the day called Arnold, White and Durkee, which is no longer there. And it actually, our group moved to Fulbright and Jaworski after that firm sort of closed down. So
So you said scientific advisor.
advisor.
So what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, so so actually to practice patent law, the United States Patent Office, right? They have a bar exam which you have to take,
Yeah.
and this is the only one bar exam, as far as I know, that you don't actually have to be a lawyer, but anybody with an advanced scientific degree can, you have to have a certain. They have some requirements of so many number of credit hours for science degrees, and you can actually practice the part of like drafting patent applications and prosecuting them without a law degree. But you have to pass that bar exam if you want to sign off on the paperwork and everything. Um, now but to get to that point, you still have to pass that bar exam.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And yeah, so when I just joined the law firm of Arnold, White and Durkee, I had my postdoc experience but no experience in law at all. So they had hired me as a scientific advisor, and I took about a couple of years to sort of, or like maybe it was a year and a half or so, to learn the law. And that exam is a pretty it's on the whole section of the patent law, so you kind of have to do quite a bit of studying and understanding what the laws are. So it took me a little while, but then after that I took the patent bar exam. And after you take the patent bar exam is when my title changed to patent agent,
Okay.
which is like these people with science degrees but don't have a law degree.
Mhm.
And the reason the patent office allows you to do that is because they sort of thought that inventors, if you've invented something and you're just a scientist and you've invented something and you don't have, let's say, a lot of money to hire lawyers and file patents because all that is expensive,
Mhm.
you should be able to file your own patents yourself.
Okay.
So yeah, so the only requirement was like, okay, you should pass this bar exam, and then they have quite a bit of like helpful information on the US Patent Office website on how you can study for it, what you can do, and all of that. So it's meant to facilitate independent scientists being able to file their own patents.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
patent agent, is that what you do now at Thermo Fisher?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, many people do this patent agent for a little while and then they decide to go to law school and get the whole degree. Because
Right.
if you go to law school, well, you can practice any other area of law too, but then you can also do things like litigation of patents. But in my case, well, my kids were small at that time. It was kind of harder to go to law school. So I figured I'm kind of enjoying this. Let me just stick with being a patent agent. So.
As a patent agent, I'm sure you've met a bunch of up and coming scientists that have filed their patents. Have there been any particularly memorable um, patent filings or cases in your career as a lawyer and now as a patent agent that just like stick out, I guess?
Yes, yes, yeah. No, there have been many actually, and so I mean, I'm always amazed with the kind of intersection of technologies too in some of these cases. So back way when like this was like I started my career in the law firm in 1998 or so, so that's way long ago.
Hmm.
And back then, I think a few years into it, there were all these inventions from some people that had to do with these nano probes that could sort of be made of some materials that are like safe enough to circulate in the blood stream, but they would detect insulin and they could kind of talk to some wearable device or something like that that could potentially tell someone that their sugar levels are such and it be actively monitored. Now, I don't think that actually ever became like a product, but the ideas were great. We filed patents on them and all of that. But that was one that like was, I thought, way ahead of its time, sort of.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's always things happening, but yeah, yeah. And some more recent ones are a lot of like intersections of AI and biology, which are also very new. I don't know where they're going, but they sound very interesting, the technologies. So.
Like these days, like more recently, are more of the patents being filed, are they in this AI biology cross intersection? Is that what you're seeing?
Not necessarily, but definitely there's an uptick on them. I mean, there's always the patents on the core technologies that are being filed, but then uh, there's, I think, a lot of people are trying to think how this application could also like sit with the AI and all of that, and
Yeah.
try to put in at least a few patent claims kind of directed towards AI. That's sort of where the trend is now. And of course, there's some people who are like solely working on AI and biology, and
Yeah, yeah.
those are being filed as well. So
Uh, and finally, I want to end with like a sort of fun question.
yeah.
If you could choose any extinct species to bring back, which one would you bring back and why? And you cannot say dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good because dinosaurs, yeah, I would be too big. Yeah. I actually would like the saber-toothed tigers to come back. I don't know.
Okay.
I just like tigers and I think those would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Well, I think that's all we have time for today.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Priya. I really enjoyed this
No,
conversation.
likewise. Yeah. Thank you and good luck, Rishi.
Thank you.
Thanks.